has declared that dialogue was frank and cordial in Yaoundé. He said the committee unanimously adopted 5 recommendations put forward by the common law lawyers to be called that the lawyers stage a walkout from the hall, posing a series of conditions to be respected. And the president of the Faku Lawyers Association, Felix Agbonbala, talks that lawyers will hardly bear fruits of the talks between the ACO committee and the common law lawyers if the youths who were arrested during the recent strike are not released by the government. He was speaking on the sidelines of the ACO committee meeting with common law lawyers in Yaoundé. He spoke to our reporter Roland ACO.
The stalemate is because we insisted that the children who were kidnapped from Bamenda, Kumba, and Boya and brought to Yaoundé, that they should be released immediately and unconditionally. The government said that they would look at it in the future, but we are insisting that if it's not done today, this meeting cannot continue. So that's why we have decided to walk out of the meeting. The meeting has come to an end. Without them addressing the issues, we cannot continue because we have raised this issue with the government. The teachers raised this issue yesterday in Bamenda, and we are insisting that if the kids are not released unconditionally and immediately, we cannot continue this meeting. They have the power to release these kids, and we insist that if these kids are not released, no further dialogue, no meeting can continue. So they must be released for us to move ahead. We are not adamant to dialogue, we are not refusing to dialogue, we are willing, we are ready, but we have a condition. These kids would have to be released for us to sit down and start discussing substantive issues. Without that, we cannot move forward.
It should also be recalled that even the meeting with teachers, trade unions, and the ACO committee in Bamenda also ended in a deadlock, as the teachers also demanded the release, the unconditional release of the young people who were arrested during the recent unrest. And here now is a reaction of one of the president of the teachers' trade unions after the disputed ad hoc committee meeting in Bamenda with Paul Gogomo's led commission. Here is an excerpt of Stephen Afu. He spoke to our Bamenda-based correspondent, Junior.
The chairman of the committee actually made his preliminary statement, we all appreciated. And then later on, we had our own observations to make. The first observation we made was that the constitution of the ad hoc committee members was not representative. Representative in the sense that those of the Southwest were not adequately represented on the commission. Secondly, we also said that we could not be discussing the issues bordering on education when some of the children who were arrested as a consequence of the strike action are still in detention. So if they could address those issues, dialogue will go further. After some explanations again from the chairman of the ad hoc committee, we indicated by their agenda that was one that had nothing to be made upon, that we had to now work on it. But within the process of discussion, we asked for a recess. The recess now was for us to go out, re-strategize, to come back with our position. When we came back with that position, which was reiterated by the representative of the parents, that representation in the committee should actually be made to consider the good number from the Southwest, and then the children who were detained to also be released. There we had a deadlock. The chairman of the ad hoc committee said that for now they could invite the other people to meet us while the committee is working, but for the other issue of those arrests, it was above his competence. So at that level, they now proceeded with the presentation of their issues as they are programmed, with the Minister of Higher Education taking the floor. Jacques Nongo presented his issues. At one point in time, since we had indicated that issues were not the way we would have loved them to be, we finally decided to opt out of the meeting. But before we even opted out of the meeting, we saw that the whole already have been quarantined. What do I mean by quarantine? The doors were shut, and then at each doorpost there were heavily armed police people there. It is later on that we allowed Jacques Nongo to make his presentation that person speaking on our behalf made that observation that we have been caged into the hall. It is then that the chairman of the Arab committee said, no, people were free to leave. That is how they now disallow us and we walk out of the hall since those conditions that we gave to set at the moment.
And that was one of the presidents of the Teachers Trade Unions there, Stephen Afu, reacting to why they decided to stage walk out of the hall during the meeting with the Ad Hoc Commission. Meantime, the chairman of the National Commission for Human Rights and Freedom, Jemuta Banda Divine.
I am Paddy Powers and I confirm this message.
When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes a duty. The people of West Cameroon have a duty to resist your oppression.